Show off your true colors at Pride. Whatever flag you fly, we've got you covered. And we have so much merch, you could be absolutely covered in rainbows. Including licensed merch from businesses that don't give two shits about you as an individual. Don't you want to pretend that your favorite fictional character wants you to have basic human rights?
Nah, fuck all that. This is the only real accessory you need. In 1969, the Stonewall Riots began. There were a series of spontaneous protests and riots that erupted due to a raiding by police at the Stonewall Inn, a gay bar in Greenwich Village in New York City. The police were there raiding the bar because of laws that prohibited the selling of alcohol to the queer community. Thus, they targeted businesses that catered to said community. But boy, were they in for it. They were violent and hateful, which is to be expected, unfortunately. The lucky ones who survived these raids often had to be hospitalized after their arrests. So it should serve as no surprise that these villains in uniform got what was coming to them. Bricks. This raid sparked a historical six-day uprising as bar patrons and community members united and rose up, facing off and fighting against bigotry, tyranny, and hatred, becoming mostly nameless legends and folk heroes in the process. Since then, this moment, as well as other historical queer people and instances, are celebrated every June for Pride Month. These come in the form of festivals, parades, concerts, drag shows, art, fashion, you name it. I, myself, am celebrating by making spoken word poetry videos of my most unabashedly queer poems this month. Unfortunately, capitalism has reared its ugly head, as it usually does, eclipsing our proud queer heritage. Instead of remembering the violence and the injustice and celebrating the gay men and trans women that literally fought for our rights, queer youth simply don a rainbow flag and dance naked in the street to Lady Gaga. Which, not to yuck anyone's yum, as you can see, me and Theodore are decked out in Pride merch, and not for nothing, this was on purpose. Pride merch has its purpose in life. Very much so. It's just that I really wish queer youth would learn a little bit more about our heritage and history. Sorry, my cat's meowing. That's really all it is. And as for the kink thing, there's a debate whether or not kink should be allowed at Pride. I think it should at certain prides. I also think there's family-friendly prides. I prefer family-friendly, if I'm being honest. It's just more comfortable for me than someone that has sexual trauma. But there should be places for people to express their kinks safely, and there should be places for people to celebrate Pride without kink, and also have children there safely. As for kids seeing a guy in like assless chaps or something, I live in the South, and kids are exposed to way worse stuff down here, including like Hooters and bare-chested women at Mardi Gras. So it's kind of a hot topic for me, because I don't think the straight side of it is okay, and everyone does down here, but I also kind of don't think that the gay side of it is okay, and everyone else is down here is against it, because they're MAGA or whatever, and think that Pride is inherently sexual, which it does not have to be. Like, speaking of Stonewall, Marsha P. Johnson, a black trans woman, is believed by many to be the first person to throw a brick. This is contested, but I like to talk about her in any queer history videos I do just because I love a good story and she seemed like a wonderful human being. Or the original meaning of the colors of the rainbow flag created by Gilbert Baker being hot pink for sex, red for life, orange for healing, yellow for sunlight, green for nature, turquoise for magic and art, indigo for serenity, and violet for spirit. Or Sally Ride, the first woman in space who just happened to be a lesbian. Ride, Sally, ride! Or Harvey Milk, one of the first openly queer elected officials in the United States, and he used his power to advocate for gay rights and acceptance, which our very own Nazi alcoholic, Pete Hegseth, just ordered the Navy to strip his name from one of their ships. Sounds like someone wants to taste a brick. The very idea of them trying to erase Pride is laughable. It started as a riot. Y'all didn't give it to us. We fucking took it. And no, Petey boy, you can't have it back. Queer history is happening all around us, all the time. It happens whenever queer artists create. It happens when queer politicians like Pete Buttigieg and Sarah McBride stand up for our rights. It happens when every queer kid decides not to kill themselves despite the homophobic and transphobic abuse from their parents and anti-queer rhetoric from the right. We have collected and protected our own history since the beginning of time, but telling cishet people that something isn't about them is like talking to a brick wall. That's why men with tiny testicles on the internet are always so bitchy during Pride Month. Dear cishet people, long have we either inspired or outright created your art, your music, your stories. We have done your hair and makeup, styled you, created fashion, worked on your cars, prepared your food, fixed what you've broken. We have adopted and raised your children when you miserably failed them or actually actively abused them, robbing them of their innocence, their childhoods, their identities. We have stood by you and smiled while you voted against our rights and denied our actual existence. That is done. You cannot take pride away. It just isn't possible. You cannot erase us. You cannot pray the gays away. We will always exist and will always thrive and experience joy, the likes of which you will never know. For those of you that say you aren't scared of queer people, you should be. A phobia isn't only a fear, it can also be an aversion. And though it is obvious that you aren't afraid of queer people, that your fear lies in discovering an innate queerness within yourselves, you are averse to equality because you want to feel better than. You're spoiled, privileged, bratty, always making everything about yourselves because that's what you're used to. You cannot fathom or comprehend anything that isn't catered specifically around you, your reproduction, your identity as parents, or your gender roles. And that is sad, because you truly don't seem to know yourselves as individuals, only walking vaginas and penises. But you cannot ask an entire group of people to change and deny their truest selves and who they love just to make you feel comfortable. And no, we aren't asking you to stop hating. It's become abundantly clear that you simply do not want to. We're simply asking you to shut the fuck up and let us live our fucking lives, something that does not affect any of you in the least bit, but still enrages you whenever you see queer joy. Don't you see how weird that is? I know this may be a hard pill to swallow, but you have to. You're always telling us to kill ourselves, but you're the ones that cannot handle reality. Queer people exist. Both homosexuality and transgenderism exist in nature. But you know what doesn't? Queerphobia. It's a mental illness. Seek help for your own good before it's too late. Love and Pride, author DC Knipe. Trump has announced that June is no longer Pride Month. Instead, it will be for observing the anniversary of Title IX, a federal civil rights law prohibiting sex-based discrimination in educational programs and activities, receiving federal funding, and ensuring equal opportunities for all individuals in education, including athletics, and protects against various forms of sex-based discrimination, like sexual harassment and assault, which is a little ironic coming from our own sex offender-in-chief. Maybe he thinks we'll take it as a slight against trans women? We don't, because trans women are women, though I'm certain they'll try to use it to discriminate against them. Really, it just looks like he's trying to cover his sexual assault tracks. Since when does the right care about women? Do they think we're stupid? And Jonathan Joss, Native American, gay actor and activist, was just murdered in Texas in a vicious hate crime. You may know him as the voice of John Redcorn from King of the Hill. The cops down there have already proven to be worthless after he and his husband reported homophobic harassment, the murder of their dog, and the burning down of their home. These were for 3 separate events, and police did nothing. Can't wait to see the mental gymnastics they're going to pull off to try and say it wasn't a hate crime. I know some of you may be scared. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with being afraid, but you can't let it stop you from fighting. I, myself, have moved on from fear and settled comfortably in my rage, righteous fury, my unyielding craving for justice. You don't have to raise a brick and beat a cop to death. Just be visible. Wear your Pride merch. Kiss your lover or lovers in public. Hold hands. Don't take bullying. Take up for other queer people in public. Educate queer youth on our history, or learn it yourself. People like Pete Hegseth are trying to embolden psychotic homophobes into murdering us. Government propaganda is literally trying to create a nationwide anti-trans ideology. It is up to us to keep shit like that in check. Make sure they know we aren't afraid of them. Stand up to them. Call out their bullshit. Let them know we aren't going anywhere. But most importantly, arm yourselves. Guns, knives, pepper spray, it doesn't matter. I myself am a traditionalist, and I say we should bring back the Pride tradition of bricks. At least carrying them to send a message. The homophobes just seem to be begging for it. I don't know what's happening, but I can't record through my headset for a video through my webcam, which is strange, but the same microphone works when I just record audio, so sorry about that. But I did want to mention that I did make these little flags for Theodore. I printed them and then laminated them and then glued them onto chopsticks. You can do the same thing for Barbie dolls, but print them smaller and use toothpicks. I've been wanting to make this video for a really long time, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you guys. Bye!